Welcome to Higher Self Mastery, the podcast for women ready to leave behind who they were told to be and remember who they truly are. I'm your host, Dami Schumacher. This is your space to come home to yourself, to honor the inner pull for more truth and more depth, and more meaning as you enter a new chapter of your life. Together, we're reframing midlife crisis into the midlife magic that it actually is, because this is your rebirth. Through soulful conversations and spiritual tools, you'll reconnect to your truth and reclaim your voice and live the life that your soul came here for. So let's begin. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Higher Self Mastery podcast. I'm your host, Dami Schumacher. So this coming week, we will be seeing in the autumn equinox. To be precise, on Monday, the 22nd here in the Northern Hemisphere, straight after the new moon, which occurs on the Sunday, the day before. So the new moon, generally, each lunar cycle is always a beautiful time for setting intentions and becoming quiet and getting reflective and just turning inwards generally as a point of reflection. And this will be especially important or potent or more sacred, shall we say, to do this coming new moon next Monday, because it will mark the official end of summer. And the autumn equinox, for those of you who are unfamiliar, the equinox is something that occurs twice a year. We have a spring equinox and a autumn equinox, and they are almost exactly the midpoint between the solstices. So you have the winter solstice and the summer solstice, the longest day of the year, the shortest day of the year, and the equinoxes mark the midpoint between those two. And many like to think of this as the actual seasonal nature's calendar and marking points of where the seasons turn and change. So it officially marks the end of summer. And on the autumn equinox, we stand at the threshold of a shift and a change. It's a time to pause as we look back at everything that summer has given us, all the abundance, all that we have created and brought and harvested over the summer period. And it's a time to be thankful and grateful for all of those fruits and rewards and riches, and to be able to then take them forward with us, harvest them and take them forward with us. But also a time where the weather starts to shift. You'll already be feeling it, especially if you're here in the UK. You know, we've got those much cooler temperatures, but then if you stand in the sun, you're taking your jacket back off and it's really warm and still hot. So it's that beautiful balance and dance between the warmth and the cooler season coming in. But also the autumn equinox is not exactly, but as close as it gets to. The equinoxes mark when night and day equally share time through the 24 hours. So it's the most balanced time of the year in terms of darkness and light as well. So we're moving from this point onwards, from the autumn equinox moving forward, we'll begin to really visibly notice the days starting to get a little bit darker and shorter, because this is that tipping point here. It's also a beautiful time to acknowledge what is happening around us. Nature always is our biggest teacher. She is our biggest medicine. She is everything, right? She gives us so much. And once again, we turn to her for her wisdom, for guidance, and watch how she releases and lets go of what's not going to serve her moving forward in the next few months, as she starts to retreat inwards, starts to keep her energy for herself internally for the next spring, and just nurture herself before she can give once again in spring. And that's exactly what we are being asked to do as well. And we it's so easy because of, for one, as a global society, we don't follow the lunar calendar for the most part. We follow the solar calendar, right? The Gregorian calendar, I believe it's called. And this was something that was made by man. And it doesn't honor and respect nature and our natural cycles. But as women, more than men, we have a closer affinity, a closer relationship with nature and her cycles and our own cycles. And so we do feel it, and we feel it when we are in her rhythm and her flow. We feel the benefits of it much more. But when we don't follow those rhythms and her natural flow, then we also feel the negative effects of that as well. I don't really like to use the word negative. Shall I say? I should say more the testing or challenging or gritting repercussions of pushing through against something that is not naturally there and it's not in our natural rhythm and cycle. So we are much more connected to the seasons, to nature, to the different cycles. Hence why I encourage each and every one of you, if this is something that you don't already do, there's so many beautiful women out there, different leaders, coaches, teachers, who there's an abundance of information out there about working with the cycles, about working with the seasons. And so if after the end of this episode you feel inspired to go and look deeper into it, I highly recommend this way of being. And it's something that will happen gradually, like with anything, right? This is something that I myself began working with seasonally. I think I'd say consciously in the last 3 years. And each year I do so more with the seasons, more with the cycles. But most interestingly enough, I can't do it any other way now. Like, if I tried to push through or go against the cycles and the seasons, I not only notice it, but I feel it at a real detriment to my health, to my well-being in every possible way. So there's absolutely no benefit in me pushing through and working against it. It's also about deeply connecting and balancing ourselves and bringing ourselves back into greater alignment after the big outward bold energy of the summer, right? Because many things can get lost, especially rituals and sacred practices. So my invitation to you today, what this episode's going to be, is going to be a little bit different. You may, if you're able to, I mean, if you're driving, just listen along, and you may want to revisit this episode at a later date. But if you're able to, you may just want to get yourself a pen and paper to take some notes, because what I'm going to do today is just offer you a long list of various rituals, ideas, journal prompts, lots of different beautiful sacred things that you can implement. And I'm going to give you quite an extensive list, but what I want you to do, the invitation here is just to recreate a daily or weekly ritual for yourself for the next 3 months, for the autumnal season, as we then move into winter. And then I'm not saying stop when it comes to winter, but we'll revisit this in winter then. But just commit to it. If that feels too far out, then just in your mind, just say, okay, I'll do this for 4 weeks. And then at the end of that 4 weeks, see how you feel. And if you do find that you are benefiting from it, then add another 4 weeks, right? Do it in small steps. But my invitation here for you is to create a sacred time, create a sacred space, either daily or weekly, whatever is within your capacity, to bring back some real intentional, mindful activities, that is going to help you to reconnect and remember your natural rhythm and your natural pace, aside from the crazy culture that we are expected to fit into, which heightens at this time of year, like goes up a notch in its level of craziness and stress and speed. And then there's no wonder that people burn out by December, because it's the complete opposite of what we should be doing. So, and that is my invitation to you. Take what resonates, and the idea behind this is that you may really resonate with one or two ideas as you listen to this podcast today and say, okay, this week, say on Friday, I like a Friday. So on Friday, I'm going to carve out half an hour and I'm going to do 1 and 2. Or maybe tomorrow morning when I go walking, I'm going to do that one. But then the following week, you may want to repeat those same little rituals, or you may want to try some other ones, some different ones. So it's not just about trying to do something big and celebratory on the autumn equinox. By all means, do that. But it's okay if you can't carve out time on Tuesday. For one, the energy lingers either side. So I'd suggest even from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? You've got that real autumnal equinox energy there. But the idea, and I think what's more powerful here, is how we then incorporate these rituals and these ideas and what we're learning from nature and carry them through our day-to-day life over the coming months, and not just as this isolated event. You may choose to do it weekly, or you may choose to work with the lunar calendar. So you might say, okay, actually, I'm going to get a little bit more intentional every new moon or every full moon or both, right? So just do whatever feels good for you and whatever is building on what you currently have. So I'm going to start with some rituals, right? And so the first one that I will invite you to do is to take a sacred walk in nature. If you have access to some woods or the meadows or even just a park or a nature strip, somewhere where you can, as much as possible, immerse yourself in nature and completely in silence. So no podcast, no music, no distraction, no conversations. Ideally, go and do this on your own. And just really awaken all of your senses. Notice all the different colors, the textures, the smells, the sounds of the leaves as they crunch under your foot, or your feet as you walk, or as the trees dance in the wind. What kind of shapes do they make? And just really invite all of your senses to heighten. And if you feel called to it, take a basket or a bag of something with you on this walk and get foraging. Nature is shedding so much of her harvest, so much she is releasing and letting go and giving to us as gifts, as offerings. So I invite you to go foraging for these fallen gifts of nature. Collect some beautiful leaves, different shapes, different colors, conkers, acorns, twigs. It's been really windy here, so there's a lot of fallen branches on the ground when I went walking this morning. But beautiful moss on those twigs and on those branches. And just collect an array of different things that you feel drawn to. And when you return home, as all of these don't have to be as one big activity. Just do the walk on its own if that's all you feel called to do. But if you do the foraging, I invite you then to, at some point, it'd be lovely to do it on the autumn equinox, to create an altar. of your foraged goods. You may want to add some fruit also to this altar, in addition to what you have foraged. Maybe some oranges, maybe some pieces of cloves. Perhaps with the fallen leaves, you may want to create a beautiful mandala pattern. And just spend 10-15 minutes purely focused in creating this beautiful mandala pattern. You may do it outside in your garden or in the park itself, perhaps, for others to enjoy. If it's not too windy, you can leave it there. You may want to add some fir cones or anything else that you found. Just take some time to really enjoy the beauty of what's being offered to you. You could make a simmer pot and infuse your home with the smells of autumn and the cooler months. So in a pot of boiling water, again, whatever you have to hand or what intuitively feels good for you, add some slices of oranges, maybe apples, cloves, cinnamon, ginger, vanilla. Just even saying it makes my senses come alive. And just allow it to simmer and bubble away. And open up your doors inside your house and allow the smell to just infiltrate every corner of your home. You may want to create a room spray with some distilled water, a little bit of witch hazel if you have it, and some essential oils. Again, like clove or cinnamon, patchouli, some cedar, some nice earthing, grounding smell, something smoky even, but something uplifting as well, like the orange, for that mood lift. Some myrrh, frankincense. That's my new favorite one. I dug up my old frankincense that I bought a long time ago but stopped using because I didn't want to use the charcoal anymore. And I found a new burner last week, I think it was a week or 2 weeks ago, at one of the wellness events that I went to, which allows me to burn, they're not called crystals. Resin, I think, is probably more an accurate word. Resin of the incense, of the frankincense itself. And so I've been enjoying frankincense in the evenings, just crushing it down and burning that. So good. So sacred. Feels special. Light a candle. Light 2 candles if you have it. A white candle and a black candle. One representing the summer that we're leaving behind and one representing the winter month that are in front of us, and sit in between them and just meditate. You may want to sit as you meditate with your journal at this point, some of the journal prompts that I'm about to offer you. You may want to do that while you light these 2 candles. Or just sit there quietly, reflecting on what's past and what is in front of you. Make yourself a nice warm brew of these spices. Wrap yourself up in a nice warm blanket and go sit outside with your warm brew and enjoy the cool air of autumn. And just enjoy it, the freshness as you inhale, feeling the cold air move up your nostrils and through your body. Honoring and inviting with open arms the shift in the seasons and the changes that we're going into. You may want to witness either the sunrise or the sunset, especially on the autumn equinox. as it is the closest we get to that equal amount of daylight and equal amount of night, to honor the passing and the changing of this. You may want to practice some, if you like to practice yoga, you may want to practice some actual balancing asanas, like the warrior three or the tree pose. There are many, many asanas. Headstand, where you're required to balance your mind, to really embody this quality of balance. You may want to burn some things away as a ritual, actually write them down, and safely outside, or if you do it inside, just please be careful. Fire safety first, always. And release and burn away what you want to let go of, that whatever doesn't serve you anymore. Cook food with seasonal vegetables. So we're moving into root vegetables, hearty vegetables, warming spices in your food too. So things like ginger and cinnamon, these will keep reoccurring. It's not just for us to smell, but also for us to actually digest and consume. Take a salt bath with some essential oils. And as you step into that bath, intentionally release and let go of all that doesn't serve you. Write a letter of gratitude for all the harvest that you've been enjoying from summer, all the abundance you've received over summer. And then pop that letter into a jar or tuck it away somewhere safe for the middle of winter, so that you can read back on that later on. Smudge your house with sage, Palo Santo. Clean out the air. Unblock any energy that's stuck behind the cupboards, in the corners of the room, behind boxes. Energy stagnates in these places, especially where there's no movement and circulation. And then have a physical declutter. That one's really calling to me right now. Just get rid of things that you're not using, physical things. Of course, the emotional and the beliefs and the relationships and all of those things that don't serve you, that you also want to release. But the physical stuff too. Make space, let go, just like nature is letting go. Unafraid of will there be more later on down the line. Of course there will be more, because the universe is abundant. With not from a place of scarcity and clinging. Just let it go, pass it on. Maybe empty out a drawer. Decide that, okay, I'm going to spend 15 minutes and just clear out this particular drawer, or this corner of my wardrobe, or this kitchen cupboard, whatever that might be. So release physical things too. Now I'll offer you some journal prompts. This one's actually a journal prompt, but also an action as well. So I'm going to give you this one first. So I think I shared this with you a couple of weeks ago, maybe in the grounding episode that I shared, but it's a really powerful one, and I invite you to do it again, even if you did it then, right? So write down 5 words that you want to embody, 5 to 10 words, because I did this. And I couldn't stop at 5. So it would be unfair to ask you to just do 5. So 5 to 10 words that describe the energy and the experience that you would like to have in the next 3 months. How do you want to what words capture and embody the essence of that? Now you can pause as I give you these journal prompts to write them down. Do them as you're listening, or just do 1 or 2 this week, maybe another couple another time. And then once you've got your list of 5 to 10 words, I want you to write these down on a piece of paper, fold them up, and put them in a little bowl. And every day I want you to pick one of these words with intention, not seeing what they are, but with intention, still blind. Something that will serve you for that day, for your highest good. And see what word comes up for you, and then to the best of your ability, keep that word at the forefront of your mind. And really try to focus on this word and live and practice and embody this word. Move through your day honoring this word with as much integrity as possible. And continue to do that. And then once at the end of the day, you put that word, fold it back up, and put it back into your bowl. You may get it again and again and again. And that's always beautiful, because the universe is really trying to say, you really need to work on this, or you really need this, or you'll benefit from this. And continue to do that throughout your autumn months. Take a moment to think about what beautiful sacred practices that nourish and ground you did you let slip over the summer months. Summer gets busy. It's okay. You don't need to reprimand yourself. You don't need to punish yourself. This is not a shaming activity. We all probably did it to some degree. I know I did. So what practices have you let slip? And how and when can you reintroduce these back into your life without it feeling like another thing to do, without it feeling like a burden? In the simplest and easiest, in the smallest ways, how can you begin to reintroduce these things? So some of the actual journal questions. What am I being asked to surrender in this season of my life? And what part of me is still clinging to what wants to be released? What have I harvested this year in work, love, growth, or healing? And what am I still yearning to receive? What does balance look like for me? In my calendar, but also in my body. Where do I feel out of alignment, physically or emotionally, when it comes to balance? What would it mean to live more cyclically, like nature? And what would I need to stop pushing through in order to honor that? And what fears arise when I slow down? What stories have I inherited about rest, worthiness, or productivity? That's a pretty loaded one, that last one, isn't it? My favorite, obviously. Well, there you have it. So the intention, as I said at the beginning of this episode, is not to give you more things to do, to add to your list of to-do things, or things to do, I should say. But it's more about a remembering of who we really are and how we would naturally be living if we weren't in this manufactured society that we all exist in now. Back to our natural rhythms, back to nature, allowing nature to guide us when to wake, when to sleep, when to slow down, when to speed up. And when we remember that and give ourselves the grace and the space and the time and the permission to do that, life can flow so easily, so gracefully, and so much more can be created when we come from that place of rest and renewal and rejuvenation and honor ourselves. So choose one ritual, choose one prompt, start off small. Please don't be overwhelmed by that list. I had more things, but I really tried to just contain it to a good selection, but it wasn't the full selection that I came up with. Yeah, and let me know how you get on. I would love to hear what resonated for you and how you might go about implementing this. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, then please do come check out this podcast on YouTube as well. I've got this this neck warmer on today. I'm not going to describe it. You'll have to just come and see it. And I'm rather proud of it. It's quite out there. I saw it and I fell in love with it. And then my ego mind, or, you know, that small part of me was like, where on earth are you going to wear that, Dami? And that's not going to go with anything. Like, that's a bit odd and wild and kooky and out there. But my heart it just made my heart expand and sing. And I was like, I don't care. I'm going to wear it, or I'm going to buy it. And so this is making its debut. So you'll have to come and check it out. I love it. And so happens that they're very autumnal colors as well. So very fitting for today's episode. So yes, do come check us out on YouTube. You can leave comments there as well. And yeah, other than that, enjoy your rituals. Enjoy however you choose to celebrate or honor this changing of the seasons. Be kind to yourself. Take time to rest. Take time to relax. Leave space in your calendar. And I'll see you back here next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Higher Self Mastery. If something landed, moved you, or sparked a shift, I'd love to hear from you. Be sure to follow, subscribe, and share this episode with a woman in your life that is also ready to rise. And if you found value in today's conversation, please take a moment to rate and review this podcast, especially in these early days. It really helps others to find this work too. If you're craving deeper support and sisterhood, join my mailing list using the link below, where you'll be the first to receive free meditations, learn about up-and-coming retreats, and other ways that we can work together. Until next time, honor your truth and trust in the timing of your becoming.